Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for December 19th. December 19th is the 353rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 354th in leap years, with 12 days to the end of the year, 6 days to Christmas. Today's word is quare. Can be pronounced quare or quar. Merriam-Webster says quare is a dialectical variant of the word queer, which means differing in some way from what is usual or normal, odd, strange, or weird, as in this quote from G.K. Chesterton when he said, "The endless and numberless avenues of bewildering pine woods gave him a queer feeling that he was driving through the countless corridors of a dream." Queer might mean eccentric or unconventional, like the queer characters and well worth knowing that John Muir mentioned. I will acknowledge that the word queer has acquired other meanings in the last generation or two, but we're not going there right now. That said, you're most likely to encounter the word quare in Ireland or among the Irish as an Irish dialect, where you may see it used as an adjective that means remarkable or strange, as in a quare fellow, or great or good, as in you're a quare mess. You might also see it as an adverb meaning very or remarkably, as in, it's quare hot today. Quare was requested by YouTube viewer Teresa Ramsire, and I love how she came across this word, playing Scrabble. She took a chance with the letters she had, and it turns out quare is actually a word. Thanks, Teresa. And if you have a word you'd like us to talk about on this Word of the Day section, drop it in the comments and we'll take a look at it. And with that, on December 19th, 1606, 3 ships departed England, carrying settlers who would found the first of the 13 colonies at Jamestown, Virginia, that would eventually become the United States. This was the first permanent English settlement in the Americas. This was after several failed attempts to colonize here, including the lost colony of Roanoke back in the 1580s. We've mentioned that before on this channel. It was difficult going for these folks, and in 1609, 1610, more than 80% of them died, mostly from disease and starvation. In mid-1610, the Jamestown colony was briefly abandoned, although the settlers returned when a resupply convoy finally did arrive. So while all this difficulty getting supplies, it happens that the first lot of ships coming from England to resupply these folks ran into some weather as they were crossing the Atlantic, and they ended up all the way down in Bermuda. Those ships were stranded on Bermuda for about 9 months while they repaired and rebuilt their ships and also gathered up whatever they could in the way of more food to complete their delivery. When they finally arrived in Jamestown, the settlers there were in such bad shape that it was determined that Jamestown was unviable. So everyone got on those 2 ships to head back to England. On the way, they met the next relief fleet, so they turned around and Jamestown got another chance. This was in June of 1610, and the colonists called that day the Day of Providence. Thomas Paine was an English-born American founding father, and among his claims to fame are that he wrote articles to encourage and inspire the patriots of 1776 to declare independence from Great Britain. He wrote a 47-page pamphlet called Common Sense, I think we've mentioned that one before, and a series of articles called The American Crisis, where he sought to encourage the colonists to stay motivated. His writings sought to bolster morale and determination among the patriots and shame neutrals and loyalists to support the cause. We mention him today because it was on December 19, 1776, that he published the first of his 13 pamphlets, The American Crisis, in the Pennsylvania Journal. This is the birthday of American singer-songwriter Phil Ochs, born December 19, 1940. Yet another singer-songwriter born in Texas. Phil was born in El Paso. He showed an early gift for musical ability, with one music instructor saying, "You have an exceptional musical feeling, and the ability to transfer it on your instrument is abundant." Starting out with classical music, he grew up in the days of Buddy Holly and Elvis Presley on the radio, along with country music artists such as Hank Williams Sr. and Johnny Cash. He went to the movies often and became interested in movie rebels like Marlon Brando and James Dean. Still in his teens, he decided to be a writer and major in journalism. Once he got to college, a fellow student introduced him to folk music, Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, and others. When the student paper refused to publish some of his more radical articles, he started his own underground newspaper called The Word. Eventually, he dropped out of college and moved to New York to become a folk singer. Unpolished but passionate, Phil Ochs preferred to call his songs topical songs rather than protest songs, and he called himself a singing journalist. Indeed, he said that he wrote songs about stories that he read in Newsweek. Over the course of his brief career between 1962 and 1976, Phil Ochs wrote or recorded at least 238 songs. He never had a hit single, but his Outside of a Small Circle of Friends did reach number 20 on Billboard's Hot Prospects list. Unfortunately, he developed a drinking problem, and he may have had other mental health issues as well. His behavior became erratic and frightening, and in early 1976, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Living with his sister by this time, he told her that he was taking his medication, but in April of that year, he took his own life. He was 35. In September of 2014, Phil Ochs' daughter Megan Lee Ochs donated her father's archives to the Woody Guthrie Center in Oklahoma. This includes notebooks, journals, photos, documents, and other memorabilia that Megan had preserved since his death. Phil Ochs. On December 19, 1941, Adolf Hitler appointed himself head of the upper command of the army. Of course he did. On December 19, 1974, Nelson Rockefeller was sworn in as Vice President of the United States under Gerald Ford, under the provisions of the 25th Amendment of the United States Constitution. The spacecraft Gaia was launched by the European Space Agency on December 19, 2013. Gaia is a space observatory that's expected to operate until 2025. Now, I've been doing these episodes for a good while now, so if you'd like to see other things that I might have talked about for December 19th in a previous year, I'll leave a link for you. The song I've selected for you today is one called I'll Be There by Phil Ochs. It wasn't released as a single, but appears on his album, A Toast to Those Who Are Gone. Phil had a nice voice, and he preferred to call his protest songs topical songs. This one is I'll Be There by Phil Ochs. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoyed this series, check out the playlist that contains these videos, and I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again and all. See you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. John, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got to make that be quiet. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for... Oh, where's your microphone? Okay, we don't want to say the same thing twice. Oh, get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are still recording. That's great. Okay. How about that? We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound Cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Let's start over. It's 8 o'clock, so all of the reminders are going to be dinging. I forgot to turn those off. Okay, stop it. It's 8 o'clock. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.